Well, hello everyone. Let me start by thanking organizers for inviting me to this very important social impact investment and sustainability forum. This is exactly the kind of topic we need to discuss right now at this very unsettling time when a virus is truly ravaging the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has already taken millions of lives, is currently keeping 800 million learners out of school, has caused over 90% of museums and other cultural institutions to close, and led to the loss of over 200 million full-time equivalent jobs. Indeed, there has never been a time in which the global outlook has spiraled down so fast, requiring us to rethink our approaches to development. The United Nations, and including UNESCO, is very concerned. Even before the pandemic, we were not progressing sufficiently on the Sustainable Development Goals we had agreed to achieve by 2030, and this global public health crisis has really wiped out gains made over the last decade. I work for UNESCO, whose ultimate mandate is to promote the aspirations of all people for the realization of shared universal values, such as tolerance, pluralism, respect for human rights, freedom, and dialogue. UNESCO's recipe for impactful socio-economic development is simple. All members of society need the freedom to express their needs, concerns, and legitimate demands, as well as the knowledge gained through scientific research, education, culture, and access to information to cope with challenges and make the best of opportunities. And boy, do we need that now. So what are some of the experiences and best practices we have to share? On Sustainable Development Goal number 4, inclusive quality education and lifelong learning for all. This is truly central to UNESCO's mandate. The last decade has seen education progress around the world with significant reductions in illiteracy rate and increases in access to education. But right now, 800 million learners are out of school, and enormous geographic and demographic education disparities are being reviewed. Teachers and schools are struggling to provide remote learning and needing support to address emerging topics such as global citizenship, environmental sustainability, or sexuality education. UNESCO continues to support all countries to adapt their education systems to SDG 4 through advocacy to sustain political commitment and to ensure resource mobilization, policy dialogue and knowledge sharing for effective planning and implementation frameworks, and through setting standards and monitoring progress with disaggregated data that allows us to detect learners left behind and close these gaps. Sustainable Development Goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. UNESCO works on freshwater resources, an issue that is becoming critical as populations grow and concentrate in dense urban areas. We lead the United Nations Water Group, building national capacities and offering in-depth analysis of the state, use, and management of the world's very scarce freshwater resources. Our focus is on policies and programs needed to include the over 2 billion people who still are water insecure or without access to sanitation. On Sustainable Development Goal number 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, UNESCO fosters people-centered innovation in areas such as information and communications technologies, artificial intelligence, biotech, ocean sciences, renewable energy. Our scientific institutes and university chairs advance scientific expertise in the developing world and supports young scientists in countries that are lagging in science and technology. We foster science, technology, engineering, and math for girls, and to empower women in science, which are key objectives for us. Sustainable Development Goal number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. With over 50% of the world's population living in cities and rural villages showing an increasing need of anchors to their development, ensuring that urbanization leads to pleasant, sustainable, inclusive, and resilient human environments in both urban and rural areas is key. UNESCO promotes cultural heritage protection, the creative economy, and sustainable cultural tourism to strengthen dignity and social cohesion and to improve livelihoods for youth, women, and ethnic minorities. We also work to make human settlements both smart and accessible, by catalyzing digital transformation in public services as well as universal design to physical and virtual infrastructure to include persons with disabilities and the elderly. On Sustainable Development Goal number 13, Climate Action. UNESCO fosters a mindset for sustainability by including education for sustainable development in national education plans and systems. We also engage youth in climate action as key agents of change and ensure their participation in global climate agreements. We support countries to achieve commitments to zero carbon emissions, pollution control, and generation and use of green technologies that create a more sustainable world. On Sustainable Development Goal number 14, Life Below Water. UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission promotes intergovernmental international cooperation and coordinates research, services, and capacity building that protect oceans and coastal areas. Our oceans monitoring systems collect 4 times more data than all the ships in the world put together. We are currently fostering innovation to address microplastic pollution. Sustainable Development Goal number 15, Life on Earth. UNESCO promotes the sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, including sustainable forest management, combating desertification, and halting biodiversity loss. UNESCO designated natural world heritage sites, biosphere reserves, and global geoparks are protected areas that facilitate testing of new models of low-carbon economies and societies, promoting solutions that reconcile the conservation of biodiversity with its sustainable use. On Sustainable Development Goal 17, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions. We foster intercultural dialogue and a culture of peace and nonviolence. We also work to prevent violent extremism through global citizenship education and media literacy skills, and by setting standards for new media platforms. We support free, independent, and pluralistic media and promote access to information for all, including by strengthening digital skills, and support disability inclusion by fostering cyberspace accessibility. Across all areas of work, UNESCO, as a global laboratory of ideas, standard setter, policy advisor, and capacity builder, is playing a leading role in facilitating international cooperation and shaping our future, calling for a human-centered approach to development. So to conclude, let me just say that we, as investors, need to rethink our approaches to value creation and value sharing. We have transitioned to knowledge economies and societies, but our economic models remain mired in our industrial past, seeking to increase labor productivity at the expense of social cohesion and the environment, in an unequal free market approach that socializes losses and privatizes gains. We need to work together so that new investments benefit the public as much as the private sector. For example, by changing how we see the environment, from an externality or cost to an opportunity, by nurturing profitable investments in low-carbon new industries. We need to pursue innovation-driven sustainable development, prioritizing development and deployment of innovative technologies that do not only increase prosperity, but also contribute to solving current global challenges and to increasing individual and community capacities for resilience and sustainability. We can only do it together, so let's do it better, doing it together. So thank you very much for the chance to be here today and share these observations with you.